guys. Okay, so today is part two of a video I posted a few days ago. And basically, in this video, I'm going to be talking about when you are allowed to apply for unemployment and my own situation with this, and basically why I had to go to court with my former boss and what led to that. The former video talked about the leading up to why I resigned my position. And if you're just looking for the quick answer, hey, I resigned, but then they let me go before my resignation date, and you're like, can I apply? Yes, you can. But stay for the rest of the video so I explain a little bit more. There's two disclaimers for this. Number one, I live in California, okay? So this is true for California law. It might not be the same in every single state, okay? So FYI. And also, make sure you do your research. Now, personally, I found my specific situation, I found it very hard to do research on this because people were talking about other situations. My situation might be a little bit rare because there wasn't a lot of information on it. So do your information because you can be penalized if you falsely apply, okay? So that's my little disclaimer. Okay, so I'm gonna try not to repeat too much from the last video, but if you guys will recall, I was let go 3 weeks before my resignation date, and that evening I applied for unemployment, okay? And the way unemployment works is that they do not check, the government does not confirm whether or not you are able to get unemployment. You can make a claim and they'll start paying you before they check anything out, okay? However, you will have to pay that back if they deem you not worthy of it, okay? So I apply and I start getting money, and I get the money for the 3 weeks that I needed, okay? Here's another thing. As soon as I left my place of work, if you guys will recall, that person named Brendan, who I was helping to train, apparently what happened, and I knew this was going to happen, they did not give me enough time to train him. And I told them, hey, I need more time than this because I know how hard it is to come into this job. You need training. Most accountants who are coming from other jobs are not familiar with full cycle accounting. They're specialists, you know? You have to give them more information. And so poor Brendan, this sweet dad of a man, did not have all that information. And so he got overwhelmed by one of the clients, went radio silent, basically ghosted them, and they had some big problems with that client. They almost lost her. It was one of their hugest clients, okay? My God, like, you cannot undervalue your employees. You just can't. My God, okay, I digress. Anyway, so how do you go about applying for unemployment? You can do it all online. You can do it on the unemployment insurance website for California. It'll take you to like the EDD thing. You can open a claim. It's pretty, you can walk through it pretty easily once you know that's where you can go to do it, okay? After that, they're going to have an interview with you. They're going to have an in-person interview, and they're going to have an on-the-phone interview. Now, they are not terribly organized with this because for some reason they scheduled my phone interview on a date where I was going for a job interview, okay? That's the whole point. Like, you want them to be off unemployment, so let me go to my job interview. And they totally understand if you can't make that, but you have to contact them. And I did. But then they rescheduled my phone interview during the same time as my in-person interview. Okay, like, first of all, I'm like, how are you guys not talking to each other? I don't know. So anyway, I had to miss one of them. So I missed my phone interview. And that was unfortunate because that phone interview takes into account both what the employer says happened and what the employee said happened. And my information was not there to be presented. So they say, I get this email from unemployment, and they say, well, Kelly, you applied for unemployment illegally. So not only do you have to pay us back the money you got for those 3 weeks, you also have to pay a penalty of $300. And I'm like, what in the world? Like, the people who are applying for unemployment do not have $300 to just whip out. Like, stupid, so annoying. When people are complaining about, like, people abusing the unemployment system, it's like, do you know how many hurdles it takes to get through? Okay, so I'm like, no, I think I can fight this, okay? Because I have these emails which say certain things, basically that they let me go before my resignation date. There's even an email that says, I sent it to Jill, my boss's wife. Hey Jill, can you have my termination documentation ready for me on December 6th? She says, absolutely. Okay? Now this was a blessing. This was such a blessing. Okay, so I opened an appeal with this. Okay, and now we have to go to court. It's going to be me, my boss Tyler, and his wife Jill. Okay, we're going into court. Terrifying. It's terrifying to go to court alone. Now I had done my research. I had all of my documentation. There was a crucial piece of information I did not have. Now, mind you, I had CC'd myself, my personal email, on a lot of our interactions when I was starting to realize that things were going south. Okay, so I sent myself copies of this so I would have access to them because this is my work email. It's not my personal email. Okay, so I have those things, but one piece of documentation I did not have was the emails that talked about me resigning on December 31st. However, my boss was coming into the hearing thinking that the only reason, if he had any proof that I had resigned at all, he would win the hearing. This is what he thought, okay? So he puts forward an email that claims that I had resigned on December 31st. Again, I was let go on December 6th, okay? So this proves the point. And again, when you apply for unemployment, what they want to look at is, was the employee the moving party or was the employer the moving party when it comes to being let go, okay? So if I quit, then I'm the moving party. However, if I resign for this date and the employer lets me go before that, they are the moving party. Now, this does not account for if I was doing something bad, if I was like stealing from the company, they can fire me, they don't have to pay me unemployment, okay? So that's kind of like the caveat to that. Makes sense, right? Anyway, so I go to a hearing and I'm terrified. Of course you have a judge. I've never been in court before. I'm on my own, just in my own research. But I say my case, I do my best, I show the information that I have, I refer to the documentation that they submitted. They submitted the email that said December 31st. And what was so interesting is, first of all, Jill openly perjured herself. She had said I had never said December 31st. In when I gave my resignation, they were like, oh, whenever you like need me to let go, just like let me go. That's what they claimed, which I think that's so stupid. Why would I ever do that? Also, they had submitted the email that included the date of December 31st. Okay, so I was like, I don't know how that went. Like, I get home and I'm like, oh my god, that was crazy, and it was so crazy to see under oath Jill perjure herself. It was like, it was disgusting. It was disgusting. Like, just like that lack of integrity, that lack of honesty. This person complains about people's lack of honesty, like, at other instances while I was employed at her place. And it's just like, she's a hypocrite, just a full hypocrite, okay? So I win the appeal, and I'm like, oh my god, thank goodness. I was totally in my legal right to apply for unemployment. They appeal it. They appeal my appeal, okay? And I have, like, I can see all the documentation that they are putting forth. And basically Tyler says, where's the proof that she was let go or she resigned on December 31st? There's no documentation. Well, there was that email. And what was nice in the explanation that we got back, explaining why I officially won and that they cannot appeal unless they take me to the superior court in a judicial case outside of the unemployment case, they said the reason why Kelly won this is because not that there was like, oh, I'm going to resign December 31st, but the fact that she never agreed to be let go on December 6th, and that was all you're doing. Because of that, she gets the unemployment. Because she never wanted to be let go on December 6th. She was able and willing to work, and the evidence shows that. So I won, and that made me feel so good. But honestly, it took about 6 months of just stress about whether or not I would be able to keep the money I got during that time, or not. It was very stressful, and I'm actually glad that I chose to do this. So I get a call. In my last video, I talked about how the company I worked for shared their suite, and there was a sexual harassment case between Jill and Jared, the manager of the other place. And mind you, Jill was the perpetrator, okay? So it was actually reversed than what you would normally think, okay? And because Jared and his company left, Tyler and Jill were going to sue him because he went back on his verbal agreement on the lease, okay? They were going to countersue. Or I don't know if it was going to countersue or basically defend themselves by saying, we had a good reason to leave because I was sexually assaulted. But they needed some kind of evidence. And so they asked me if I had any proof of the sexual assault. And I wasn't there for it. But Jill had admitted to doing that. And she was frustrated that they were even talking about it in a team meeting. So I wrote my whole spiel. I sent it into them. And I don't know if they won that case or not. But, I mean, I'm glad I did it because I told the truth. And as much as I don't want to screw over people, it's just like the more they just like put me through hurdles of law stuff, the more I was like, this is like karmic justice. It really is. It's just crazy time. I mean, I feel like the people who were in the right one, me, like I was completely truthful through my court case. I literally talked them through everything. And literally, if they just hadn't been greedy and they were just kind to their employee who had been with them a year and a half and had gone out of their way to give them 2 months notice to be able to put their ducks in a row, if they just respected me and the kindness I had given them, they wouldn't have had to pay anything. Nothing. I wasn't asking for that. I wasn't trying to twist their arm. I just wanted out of the company, you know? So yeah, that's my story. So if you're in a similar situation, you're like, can I apply? You know, they let me go before my resignation date. I was totally in good standing. Yes, apply. But also, you have to have some kind of documentation proving your side of the story. So if they're not willing to give you a paper that says this, try to find some emails. Even if it's like the last day and you need to email your employer like, hey, I just want to confirm these events. This is what happened. Can you confirm that? And don't say like, I was let go. Say, okay, this was my original date of resignation. You're choosing to let me go. I just want some documentation of what happened here. And they should be able to be like, oh yeah, that's fine. They might not know that that would hold up in court, but it will. Okay, so you know that. Yeah, that's all I have for today. Thanks for watching. A stressful situation, but it ended good, ended well. So I'm pleased with that. And just, hey guys, if you're an employee, if you're an employer, just be honest. Just have integrity. Just be a good person, please. Just make the world a much better place.